Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
We spoke with the captain about his fire. He said maybe tomorrow. And the generator have told him, he said he's going to go meet them. And I think they said they're supposed to collect one so that we can get it hopefully before the end of the week.
What?
The generator.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Where is it? Where are the telephones that we ordered? Wow, why defaral leen ma sama socket bi?
Socket bi xaar ma xool boy pour mu ñëw.
Na ñëw léegi nii laa bëgg ñu defaral ma ko. Dama leen a mere de.
Alaikum assalam, Senegal. Iya, legi ñëwal legi ni bi human rights. Kay topé ñu. Pour na fi socket.
Bye, now. Hello. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello. Baring panan dia mau berkata.
Hello, assalamualaikum. Good morning.
Yes.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yes, sir.
Doctor.
Yes, yes. How are you? Hey, Jalibas, my distinguished brother.
Yes.
and fellow rat.
You.
I say you are my fellow rat. You know we are all rats.
Run away,
teachers. That's good entertainment.
Yeah.
Honorable moderator, and I am moderator.
My
Ajinde. No, Ajinde, are you the one moderating today?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming over. Jaliba, thank you very much. We appreciate you being there.
Right, thank you.
Okay, we can just allow you to go on and play your music, and we will start after that, okay? You just go ahead, please.
Kela kuma boba de kanzia jama kela manza kela dunia sunumla ni nyani ngenu nyanjoba da bari yakodo kuninga sirabula ngenu nyanjoba da bari ya padana kadala ngenu nyanjoe da bari ya suma jangen do malado mandani do la ka bagonkon na di banda nyinya nyangu do banda khadi mambay do ya dale mi bol jamna korin sinna korbetiya ani nyangu sinzaba korgul bara suma damba finne ani suma tamba koy kangu tamba ni banan tamba kormun tamba mamud kare do bara santa de ko diala Nyangal bada banje suma tumanna suma jimala suma kunda bada bakajori bada batingira bada bakan suma wala bada kamunu ni kanjundana kumunu bada nyodolo to tunga kelela ba fade manu menne ko ba ko mansa ba ki da menne ko dira makandanda sa de man jode do tunga kelela ali joda ko Then we go to coronavirus because that's the era we are in.
Hello, Ms. Bakuri. Yes, you can please put your audio on and we start.
Jaliba, thank you very much. Good
Okay,
morning,
Mrs. Bakurin, the Honorable Minister is in.
Yes, please.
Mrs. Bakurin, the Honorable Minister is in now. Okay. All right.
Good morning.
Okay, we can start.
Yes.
Okay, so let me just introduce everybody and we start.
Right.
Jaliba,
Yes.
Jaliba, can you lower the music? You can play very low whilst I'm talking. Is that okay? Then afterwards we can
That's right.
stop it.
That's fine. That's fine.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Good morning, everybody.
I'm fine.
Good morning, Honorable Minister, Honorable Hamadwa, Minister of Tourism and Culture. Good morning, Mr. Dimitri Office Dakar for Sahel. Good morning, National Center for Arts and Culture, Director General. Mr. All the others who are from the UNESCO. Welcome to the ResiliArt Gambia TV. The team
What is happening?
Moderator, I guess we should all mute our mics so that whoever is speaking can just unmute and speak and then mute again. That way we can hear each other. There's too much background noise, I guess.
Ms. Bakurin, your mic is mute. Please put on your mic.
Good morning, everybody. Our technician is working on it. So we once again welcome the Honorable Minister Hamad Ba of Tourism and Culture, Mr. Dimitri Sanga of the UNESCO Dakar office, and all other panelists present here today. Our team today is to discuss the cultural and creative sector
Yeah, I guess we should dispense with the videos for some of us because of the internet bandwidth. Some of us, the videos would not work with the voice. I'm sorry.
Ms. Bakurin, yeah, on mute, please. Put on your mic,
Yes.
please.
It's the technical problem we are having here. It's on mute now. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Once again, good morning to everybody. Honorable Minister and Mr. Dimitri Sanga, all my other colleagues present here, and Director General, everybody is welcome. In the Gambia, before we start any consultative process, we pray in our own way. Please, can everyone?
Okay, Ms. Bakurin, you can go ahead now.
Hi, hello. I'm just observing. Thank you. Good morning.
Alarm. Daisy Bakiran has left the meeting. Alarm. Slash has joined the meeting. Alarm. Slash has joined the meeting.
So, Madam Moderator, go ahead, please. After the press, you can go ahead now.
Please, good morning again. We will ask, like I said, this is the Gambia ResiliArt debate, and we will ask the director of the UNESCO regional office in Dakar to make a statement, please. Mr. Director Sanga, please.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much, moderator. Dear participant, it really is a pleasure and an honor to share with you this resilient debate in the Gambia, which is actually the first we launched in the sub-region. My greetings to the Honorable Minister. I'm really pleased to see that the Minister of Tourism and Culture, Mr. Hamad Ba, is with us this morning, as well as greetings to our partners from the NCAC, Mr. Asum Sise and his team, but also to the artists and cultural professionals who joined us today to share their voices. In moment of crisis, people need culture. The COVID-19 crisis is showing that we need artists, we need creatives, authors, and cultural professionals more than ever. They carry the voice of resilience and participate in raising awareness in the fight against the pandemic. Indeed, throughout the world, billions of people are physically separated from another, yet culture brings us together. It provides comfort, inspiration, and hope in this time of uncertainty. However, even as we rely on culture to get us through this crisis, culture is also suffering. Many artists and creators, especially those who work in the informal or gig economy, which is very much the case in the Gambia, are now unable to make ends meet, much less produce new works of art. Cultural institutions, both large and small, are losing revenue with each passing day. We are going digital, but this is also posing questions of fair distribution of revenue stream. As the world works to address the immediate danger of COVID-19, we also need to put in place measures to support artists and access to culture, both in the short and long terms. We need a concerted and global effort to support artists and ensure access to culture for all. Debate such this one, which brings together a variety of and range of stakeholders, public authorities, and civil society, will help us move forward. Now, more than ever, people need culture. Culture makes us resilient. It gives us hope. It reminds us that we are not alone, and that is also the magic and power of creativity. That is why at UNESCO we will do all we can to support culture, to safeguard our heritage, and empower artists and creators now and after this crisis has passed. We hope you will join us in this effort by supporting culture in your own community however you can. And I thank you again for your participation, and I look forward to very successful discussions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Sanga, for those kind words and explaining between the context we are working today. As we have already sensitized people, this debate is hosted by Ministry of Culture, Tourism and Culture of the Gambia through the National Center for Arts and Culture, together with UNESCO office in Dakar. And we are honored to have the Minister of Tourism and Culture with us, Honorable Hamad Ba, and he would officially launch this debate for us. Honorable Sir, the floor is yours.
Good morning, Madam Moderator. Or good afternoon now, because it's gone after 12. And good afternoon also, Regional Director, good brother and a friend of the Gambia. And good afternoon to all the participants. And of course, our director, Mr. Hassan Sise and others. And of course, all of you that I've already seen. And I'm sure this debate will be a very fruitful debate. Well, I am pleased that UNESCO have taken the lead to start putting in plans in place to help artists and all the cultural groups as to how to maneuver or to survive COVID or after COVID, what needs to be done to help them. As the director have reiterated, culture is an instrument that we all need at the time when we feel sad, because it really can change our behavior and our attitude. And I believe this has been a time when most people have used culture to at least feel a bit better. As you have seen, one of the greatest artists in the world have all performed all over the world to entertain people who have been locked in their homes for months. We also, culture, have suffered immensely, particularly in this part of the world, where some of our cultural behavior, our folklores, some of our conventions, we could not perform, we couldn't do because of what we call social distance, because of COVID-19. We couldn't shake hands, we cannot go on marriages, we cannot go to funerals. We have found it very difficult indeed. It's not been an easy time for us, particularly Africa and the Gambia for that matter. These are some of the things that we are going through because of COVID-19. However, our government has taken note of this and will certainly make a pronouncement on our intervention to support the cultural groups, experts, writers, all those that are involved in the field of culture. There is no government will make a commitment to support, to help them sustain themselves, and to make sure that they get back to business after coronavirus is gone, COVID-19. So we believe that this forum will also avail us the opportunity to draw some lessons that may also help to guide us in that process of trying to see how we can mitigate some of the challenges that the cultural industry is going through all over the world. So we hope to receive the summary of this debate as soon as it is concluded, and we'll try to use it as part of our policies to help really support our cultural industry throughout, not only in the Gambia, but outside the Gambia. We know that cultural tourism also matters a lot for us. And as you know, that tourism have suffered immensely. That's why this debate will give us an opportunity to help us formulate policies that would advance the industry in the future. On that note, once again, let me thank participants. Once again, thank you and congratulate you in advance for what I believe would be a very successful and progressive debate. Thank you, Madam Coordinator.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister Ahmad Ba, for those opening remarks. We would want you also to officially launch this thing. The moderator is Mrs. Ndaisirem Bakwe. Please, can you officially launch it so that we can proceed, sir?
I therefore officially launch this debate on this day, on the 6th of May 2020. Wishing you all the best.
Thank you very much, Honorable. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We appreciate it for launching this. And we also have noted some of the issues you have mentioned and some of the plan government have planning, hopefully, to take care of the creative and cultural sector. And we look forward to them. And also during the discussion, I'm sure panelists will come up with strategies so that we can mitigate this kind of thing in the future. Once again, God bless you, thank you. And we also thank Mr. Sanga for his kind words there. Now we will go ahead and introduce the panelists who are with us today. Yeah. Already we've had the Honorable Minister Ahmad Ba. Everybody knows who he is for doing the opening and launching. The same thing applies to Director Sanga, who most of us are familiar with here, and the other panelists we have on board. And we welcome, before we proceed, our permanent secretary, Madam Kodu Jabang Senghor. And Madam Senghor, we are happy to have you on board to join us here. It's a privilege and a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. Good morning. Ndai Bakurin, the Director General of UNESCO in Dakar. Mr. Sanga and team, we welcome you on this panel. I would also wish to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Hassoum Cissé, the Director General, National Center for Arts and Culture, as well as Madame Matilda, who is at the UNESCO office in Paris. And most importantly, the panelists from culture and creative stakeholders. Good morning to you all. Since the change of government in 2017,
Good
the
morning, please.
arts and culture sector has been on an upsurge. All sectors of the arts, literature, fine arts, festival, drama, film, dance, photography, have seen a big boost in terms of participation and even investment in terms of printing shops, studios, record labels, etc. The rise in private broadcasting on TV, FM, and other media has supported this. Likewise, the legal frameworks such as the Copyright Act and regulations which protect the artistic works of Gambians, which the ministry promulgated in 2018. It is the youth who are now heavily involved in the creative sector as a conduit for self-employment. Therefore, this sector is critical to the national development paradigm of the National Development Plan 2018-2021. This ministry has had a smooth working relationship with the Gambian arts fraternity and players through its satellite body, the National Center for Arts and Culture, NCAC. Since 2018, the ministry has doubled the operating budget for the NCAC to enable it hire more hands to implement its mandate as per the NCAC Act 2003. Also, for the first time, the NCAC has benefited from a development budget to take care of heritage sites and upgrade them to standard, including UNESCO World Heritage Sites under our purview. Sites associated with UNESCO or other UNESCO conventions, like the 2005 convention and the 2003 conventions, such as the Kankurang Center, have been taken care of thanks to increased funding to the National Center for Arts and Culture. The increased funding to NCAC has also enabled them to support more cultural programs, including community festivals, book publications, production of drama, and capacity building. For example, the support of, with the support of UNESCO, participation was possible in 2020, in which the NCAC trained 24 young Gambians in the creative sector, in entrepreneurship, in the arts. UNESCO's role is highly appreciated. However, COVID-19 has put many of these achievements in check, but I wish to assure the arts and culture players that we are stepping up efforts to ensure their suffering due to the pandemic is covered. I wish to believe that our sector will come out of the pandemic bruised but stronger, and that a national fund for culture is our priority as it is now. With those few remarks, I would like to thank you all for participating and to also wish you fruitful deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Kodujabang Senghor, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Tourism and Culture. That's a very good opening to this discussion after having heard the other statement from UNESCO Dakar office, Mr. Sanga, and also Honorable. It's good to know that something is being put in place. The plans are ongoing. Now, without wasting more time, we would want to invite the panelists I will pose a question, and each panelist, when we are going to talk, you will just briefly introduce yourself. Here we have the Director General of National Center for Arts and Culture, Mr. Alvin Cisse, who is a writer, also a creator, and a copyright expert. He can elaborate more about himself. We have also Dr. Omar Barry, who is a writer, academic, and a critic, and have won many awards, and I'm sure he will elaborate more. We also have the King of Kora, Jaliba Kuyate, with us, who has been entertaining us when we just started. And we appreciate he could join us today. He's a musician known internationally and also an educationist, even though he called himself, I heard him and Dr. Barry talking together saying they are rats, run away from the education sector. We are happy he could be here, and he's an ambassador for a lot of things, and also he promotes cultural work. Thank you, Jalibia, for being with us. We also have other colleague and brother, Mr. Okodrame, who is a media entrepreneur, who is very passionate about the culture and creative art, who have joined us today also on this thing. We were having another colleague, Mr. Baba Silla, who I'm not seeing again on the screen, who's a writer and also who has studied physiology, management, among others. He has written many books, and midway in his career, he is visually impaired. It's good to involve everybody in this process. And on that, I thank everybody, particularly our colleagues from the Dakar UNESCO office. We appreciate all the support you are providing with and giving Gambia the opportunity to be the first country to host and organize also this national ResiliArt debate. To the panelists, I'm going to pose a question. I would want to start with Director General Cisse. What do you think is the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic to the Gambian culture and creative industry as a whole? And this question is going to be answered by all the panelists. Mr. Cisse, are you with us?
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Moderator, for your good work. Good afternoon to everybody, my fellow panelists. Good afternoon to Honorable Minister, to the Permanent Secretary, and to Mr. Sanga, our good friend, Director of the West and Central Africa Office in Dakar. Kajatu is in. Guillaume, our friend. Hi, Guillaume. I see Aisha, Theo, and all of you. It's a pleasure to have you. And it's a pleasure that we are, pioneering this, ResiliArt, UNESCO conference. Now, I want to say that this pandemic has really severely affected the arts and culture sector, financially and morally. Morally in the sense that if you are a writer, you just publish a new book, for example, and you cannot even take it to the bookshop, or you cannot even, launch it in a public ceremony. That's demoralizing. Or if you are a musician, you sit at home for 8 weeks without a jig, without a performance. That is demoralizing. So there is that moral cost, that cost on the morale of the artist. And number two, the financial cost also is huge. Definitely. Our artists, like all other artists, are losing money. Yeah, they cannot have performances because of the emergency regulation. They cannot have drama programs. The venues are closed. Yes, all the performance venues, the halls, the hotels are closed. You see. So, Ms. Bakurin, Madam Moderator, in a nutshell, those are some of like some of the suffering that the artistic and cultural community are going through. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Director General. I think you have summed it up really very nicely in terms of the negative impact of this COVID-19 pandemic on the sector we are representing. We appreciate your insight. Dr. Charnobari, please, we'll appreciate to hear from you. What do you think is the impact of COVID-19 pandemic to the Gambian culture and creative industry as a whole? Doctor, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. I would also want to take the opportunity to thank all the members who are with us, joining us for this very important event. It is clear that we are a society of culture. We are a society that is whose identity is seen from the vibrance of our culture, from our music, from our writings, from our poetry. We don't live a day when any event happens, be it a social event, be it a cultural event, be it a national event, where you don't see the manifestation of our culture. So as a result, the pandemic has stalled everything, even if it is not for the economic benefit. Because of the identity itself, we seem to be at a lethargy. It's as if there is a kind of a death, as if we are all mourning and locked up in our homes. So we are a kind of society that really is enlivened by our culture. You see, before we even started, we had Jaliba Koyate entertaining us with music. This is what we know. We don't go to events, any event whatsoever. Whether it's a book event, whether it's an opening ceremony, whatever we do in our context here, everything is cultural. We have the music in the background, we have the music on stage, we have the poetry being read, we have a book excerpt being read, we have a proverb being given out. So it gives the cultural industry some form of identity, some form of recognition, some form of belonging within the society. And if that stalls, if anything stops it from happening, then it looks as if it's like as if we have been imprisoned. And that's what COVID-19 has done to us. It has imprisoned our cultural industry. It has put us in the shadows, in the dark. And I think it's important that we keep reflecting on this, because I'm sure there is a way we can also be vibrant in the new paradigm shift. And I'm sure we'll get there in the discussions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Charnobari, President of the Writers Association, who has also added another thing which is important for this Gambia, which is our identity. It seems we have lost it temporarily, but let's hope we'll come over this COVID-19 pandemic, and then we'll move forward. And I hope it can make us stronger. It's an opportunity to give us to sit down and reflect and see within ourselves, how can we mitigate so that in the future, this kind of thing wouldn't happen? Because we are all stakeholders, we have a role to play. That leads me to go to the King of Kora, Jaliba Koyate. I will want to pose the same question to you, Mr. Jaliba. What do you think is the impact of COVID-19 pandemic to Gambian culture as a whole? What's your insight on that? Jaliba, please. Jaliba, can you hear me? Okay. Jaliba. Okay, if he's having an issue, I will move on to the media entrepreneur, Mr. Oko Drame. Okay, Jaliba is on, sorry. Please go ahead, Jaliba. Jaliba, please. I think Jaliba is having an issue coming up. But whilst we are waiting for him, I would want to unmute your mic, Jaliba. Can you unmute it for him, please?
Yes, are you hearing me now?
Okay, please, can you go ahead now? Thank you.
Right. Okay, good afternoon, Mrs. Bakurin. Good afternoon, Honorable Minister, Tourism and Culture, Our Excellency, the Honorable Representative of distinguished guests here present. I must say that I'm greatly honored. I'm honored to be part of this conference because it touches me. But before I go there, my name is Jaliba Kuyate. I was born in a village in the Central River region called Nyamene Dankunku. It's about 250 kilometers from the capital. I was brought up in that village since childhood at the age of 5. Since my father were poor. This is why I was early introduced to the instrument. I continued on playing, but I think at the very early age, I almost stopped because I was on formal schooling. Up to a time when I got out from school, I got in as a teacher, and then went to the college with the Kora, and this is where the film started. Presently, I am Goodwill Ambassador, National Goodwill Ambassador for UNICEF. I also name a few, for NAWEC, for Gambia Fire Service and Rescue Services, many others. This is just to name a few. I am a performer, recognized from, we have been practicing and doing work effectively up to the time after December, when things almost came to a standstill. COVID-19 has got a great impact on our work, as if we are hypnotized in one place, locked up. We are doing nothing. We are doing nothing. Too much cries from. Imagine I am paying 20 on salaries. I'm paying about 25 people in the band. I have an office. I have secretaries, and but we are not realizing any income at all. So it has come to a standstill. And not long ago, my members came to say, we don't have food for ourselves, for our children, for our families. So you have to get up, do something and get something for us. I can say angrily because a hungry man is an angry man. But I understood. I had to go knock doors here and there to be able to see, to support them in a way. So it has done something very, very great on us, because we are not moving anymore. Nothing is happening. Well, I think I stop there for the time being.
Thank you very much.
When I'm asked another question.
Thank you very much, Jaliba, for your insight. Highly appreciated. So we will move on to Mr. Okodrame, media entrepreneur, who will want to share his opinion when it comes to the impact of COVID-19 pandemic to the Gambian, that is affecting the Gambian culture and creative industry as a whole.
Hello.
Mr. Drame, please. Jaliba, can you please mute your, okay. Go ahead, Mr. Drame. Please, can you unmute your mic, Mr. Drame? Mr. Drame, can you hear me? Okay, can you unmute your mic, please?
See, can you hear me now?
Yes, please. Please go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, Honorable Minister. Good afternoon, Permanent Secretary and Mr. Sanga, as well as you, Mrs. Bakuri. You have been great. And I'm so happy to hear these wonderful speakers. Almost, it seems like these are the best speeches of my day. As I had this morning on CNN, Mr. Jallo just can follow what I'm saying, that President of France, Mr. Macron, was addressing this issue about funding the art in times like this. And this was very important. Then I tuned to another network and I see in the United States that the arts and culture is very important. It's at stake. Somebody call it crisis on the arts, the pandemic. Actually, it affects people. The artists are the manifestation of people. We do what people think. It's unfortunate that we couldn't do more in the Gambia, which we're supposed to do. We have friends of musicians, big time in the international world. Presently, Gambia do not connect to the outside world. And when this pandemic came about, it put a major hold, like the permanent secretary was saying, to our activities, because after 1994, Gambia was marginalized as a tribalistic type of culture. People did not like the music anymore. Tourism was going down, and each year tourism was going very down. Even though the minister and the government of the Gambia have insisted and constantly saying it that tourism is one of the main stakeholders of the Gambia. Therefore, the industry of music and arts have employed thousands of young people who work on their own means to build up studios. Because working in hand with the government, we see that the artists of the Gambia are at any location of heritage. We are there at the Fort Bullen, call us, we are there. The artists are in every hotel entertaining the guests. The artists are in every bar and restaurant. People come to the Gambia because of the people and the culture and the food. They don't come for beds. It was only recently that they reduced the artists to a kind of a spectacle item, that artists are not necessarily not important except a disaster like this. The sensitization in the Gambia is not going well. We don't have the equipment. The artists not only losing revenue, they are just sitting at home. They cannot go from place to place. Some of them live about 20, 50 kilometers apart, but yet they form a group. But by the way, let me go back to memory lane in 10 seconds, which is that Gambia was known throughout Africa as the hub of Western civilization. We went to England before Nigeria and Ghana. We were playing music. The Super Eagles covered the whole world. Before the discovery of Kunta Kinte and Alex Haley, Gambia was known. We had visitors. That's how Alex Haley came here. That's what also brought Mr. Hardins, who started tourism in Gambia here, because our music, our artists were known internationally before any other part of West Africa here. Things have changed. We work hand in hand with the previous governments. There was a blip and then become a new government. And I'm so excited that our new minister is excited, enthusiastic, and the permanent secretary, we are all saying the same thing. The artists of the Gambia and the minister are saying the same things. We need to modernize because there is going to come the new normal. And Gambia will lag behind again simply because lack of resources to establish recording studios, cultural centers, performing arts centers. We don't have that. The artists themselves put up stage in the streets. They put up stages at the stadium, but yet they attract a full stadium, 20,000 people. This all by themselves. The NCAC of the Gambia do not have money. The NCAC is trying to support the artists with meager means of visiting artists from Senegal. With those taxes and the fees the artists pay to register as a legal body, government asked us to do so, that they would help us if we establish Union of Musicians, Association of sort of actors, filmmakers. We've done that. We also were in the sight, what we call light at the tunnel, of establishing the legal industry of music incorporated to our government, because government also do not like something that's not legal. So the artists were all registered and legal. We were one step away from remuneration, artists getting income from what they live and earn. Now the artists live on handouts. Lastly, remember, when we talk about artists, we must remember our elders, the artists who are handicapped, the artists who are blind. These are great musicians I know who cannot see. They are making great works of art. It seems like musicians are just like pop stars, people who have good body, eyes, everything normal. No, no, no. Most Gambian artists are suffering from physical defect, some psychological. Some are so poor that they go mad and they die. Many artists, the top artists of Gambia have died prematurely in the streets. Great composers admired by the world. We can make Gambia the cultural capital of Africa. We're talking about all year, all around tourism. We have it. We have the artists, we have the painters, we have the singers, we have the drummers. All Gambia has is the art. And during the pandemics, all this have gone down. The elders cannot go to naming ceremonies to get money. They depend on handouts, which is not right. They should be paid. And before, we have said here very clearly that the television feed on the artists. The radio, the news, they all feed, they eat artists like food. And yet, there is no facility, no locations, no program guides, no education centers, no musical instrument stores. Remember, we employed all these people by ourselves as artists. We have transport system, we have technical units, we have operational modules, we study music all by ourselves. We want a restructuring before the art die, because the art is the glove and tourism is the hand. We work hand in hand, and I'm glad the minister is standing firm.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is very important.
Thank you very much. We will come back to looking at some of the solutions, the mitigation measures. I think those insights will be very useful. And we thank you for responding.
My pleasure.
And thank you for, yeah. That will lead me, please, can you mute your mic, please? Mr. Drum, thank you, sir. Now I want to proceed and go back to Jaliba, just to change. In what way, as a cultural musician, is there a way you have adapted your activities to this situation, sir? Jaliba, King of Kora, please.
Well, I try to do it always. Although to no avail, I think I had only one program during this COVID-19. Wanted to use me so that we get to their clients. And then in the team, those I was alone on my kora, on my instrument, singing about the COVID-19, and you know, I composed that, and what sort of preventive methods we should take to help ourselves fight this pandemic. That was, as I said.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jaliba, because that is appreciated. Thank you for being very brief. That is because of time constraint. Dr. Barry, Dr. Charno Barry, we would want to hear from you how the pandemic, you have mentioned how it has affected the writers and you as an academician. Is there a way you people have adapted your activity?
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Barry, please.
Again. Indeed, yes. So first of all, we aligned several activities this year. Part of the activities, one of the most important in the year is the World Book Day, or the World Book and Copyright Day, which was scheduled for the 23rd of April. And we also have several other activities we used to conduct regularly on a weekly basis in some cases, like book readings at the American Corner. But we also have the book literacy and the book and literacy club with the Penchum Takusan, which we usually host on behalf of Baba Sila. We also do book reviews, book launches, depending on who is launching a book. So yes, we have series of activities that come our way. Unfortunately, when the COVID-19 pandemic began, unfortunately, we had to suspend, for example, the World Book and Copyright Day celebrations this year. We have scheduled activity for June. We are afraid that it might not also hold because of the way we are foreseeing things, which is supposed to be the International Kankorang Book Fair, the Kunta Kinte Book Fair, which is also going to allow, which is an international event, which will also allow us to launch the Global Hands publishing locally here to allow writers to publish. And we would also have a dinner where we are going to do the Dr. Leritas Prize Award, Memorial Award. Unfortunately, that one will also probably not hold in June. So what has happened is that it has affected and it has allowed us to have to reschedule everything. You see, when we talk about reading and writing, it is an essential component of our lives. So what we do mostly is to contribute and collaborate with the NCAC, with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, with the writers, to support young emerging writers, but at the same time, to encourage writing, what we call keeping the history of our culture through the arts. Remember, storytelling, slam poetry, all these things are part of what falls under the Writers Association. So what we are doing is we are adapting. Since the pandemic began, the first thing we did was hold a press conference and immediately encourage people to come and join us so that we can all discuss on how we can protect ourselves and also align ourselves with the WHO and government regulations. Since then, we have been doing a lot of advocacy through poetry, through the WhatsApp and through our fora on Facebook and or elsewhere. So yes, we have been readapting, but it has affected basically our core activities. And as a result, our visibility is very, very low. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Barry, President of Writers Association. I want to pose also to Mr. Okodrama, media entrepreneur. Is there a way how you have adapted your activities to the COVID-19 situation? Please, very brief. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, there are many ways, but we couldn't apply them simply because it's all scientific. Now you can see big stars, even in Senegal last night, I watched that they had a good platform just like this one, where they could perform from different studios. What I can understand the boys are doing right now is planning for the new normal. At the moment, we cannot, because there are no guidelines in terms of course, there are distancings and all that, but the artistic presentation of a performance and also the ongoing creativity, all that we cannot put together because you need people, you need movements, you need equipment, and you know the electricity. The artists do not have the means to sustain a good computer. There are some things we need to do to be active in this now restricted time and distancing. And we are artists, we work with groups of people. We cannot do much unless if, and that's the if I want to talk about as when we want to talk about solutions. There are things that have to be done so that we can really engage ourselves right now rather than waiting until the solutions are there. We really want to be on television constantly. We want to sensitize, we want to teach and entertain, but we cannot. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's why we will talk about what we would post COVID-19 afterwards. I'll pose that question to you. Now, Director General, can you please mute? Thank you, sir. Okay, Director General, I want to ask you a question. What do you think would be government role? We have heard from the minister and the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Tourism and Culture of some of the plans, but as the head of National Center for Arts and Culture, what do you think government can do? What is the role of government to improve the plight of the culture and creative industry, sir? Are you hearing me, sir? Mr. DGCC.
Well, yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. Well, the role of government is paramount. It's very, very important. In fact, it's key. And I mean, every other intervention should come to complement that of government. I think that should be made very clear. Number one, you know, the Honorable Minister and Permanent Secretary have, you know, clearly stated on the need for a national fund for arts and culture. I think that's very, very important. We need that. That will take care of the funding challenges in the sector. Because Mr. Drame, I mean, mentioned that the main challenge is funding. To have a fund to take care of cultural programming. For example, you are a novelist, you have your manuscript, you apply to the fund to have a quality, you know, publisher, you handle it. You are a musician, like our good, you know, colleague, you know, Mr. Jaliba Kwate, you want to bring out a new album, you have funding challenges, you apply to the fund. You see, I mean, you are a music promoter, you want to establish like training workshops, you know, on entrepreneurship in music and so on. So the funding challenge, the funding gap has to be filled. And I think the role of government is very, very important in that. So I will call for a national fund for arts and culture. And I think one of the you know, great riposte, you know, the great anti-COVID riposte that can happen to our sector is to create such a fund. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Director General. Yes, it can never be business as usual again. It has to be a new normal, and we all have to find ourselves to adapt to that. And government have to take the lead in this when it comes to our cultural sector. And having fund in place is a good starter, one of the strategies. But I would also want to hear from the other panelists. Yaliba Kuyate, what do you think government role should be to improve the plight of the cultural and creative industry. You are hearing me, Galiba?
Yes, yes, I'm hearing you.
Briefly, thank you, sir.
Well, I think, yes, I think they need to come, associations, those who want to do some fundraising on. I know the people will be expecting to see our performances. Like, for example, we can be going to the television station, and here government should be in a position to pay the artists, and then raise fund in a way, maybe advertise and then ask people to pay something before the performance on the. This may seem crazy, but I think that's the only way they can come in with us, so that we don't keep sitting down only. We can visit television and do a bit of work, and then have it on television and have it advertised, so that a group of people will be seeing it, or the mass will be seeing it, but the funding should come from the government. So to see that we are not sitting down, we are functioning.
Thank you very much for your insight there. I think funding keep coming up. Business as usual cannot be. So we all have to come together and see how we move forward. I'm sure my next question, we will ask how post COVID-19 would be. Dr. Barry, what's your take regarding government role to improve the plight of the culture and creative industry? Dr.
I think this is the moment of serious reflection. This is the moment when government itself realizes that, as some of our counterparts mentioned, our colleagues mentioned on the platform, that culture is indispensable to our lives. It is the spice of our lives. And where we have this pandemic, it should give us a moment of reflection. How do we now move ahead and use culture, not only about it being the spice of our life, but also the backbone of our economy? Because as my distinguished colleague, Mr. Drame mentioned, Brother Oko, it is an all-round thing in the whole of the year. When we get visitors, when we don't get visitors, we know the cultural identity we have is what gives us that attraction of other people coming to us. So it is our power. And because of that, government needs to reflect deeply today on how we can move on now and give the culture and the creative industry the platform they deserve, so that gradually we will rethink tourism. Gradually we should be rethinking our economic benefits using our culture. How do we get there? And so that, there is what we call an ongoing economic flow that would even benefit the cultural actors, and they are not seen left out. There should be a kind of a pool of funds that could even be recycled. That could be what we call a kind of a bank that would allow a revolving fund. The cultural artists can bring money. So they need money to bring money. And in order to get that money, there must be a kind of a bank. I'm not talking of a bank in the infrastructure sense. I'm talking of a pool of money somewhere where they can use it and also bring it back. They will expand their money. If you give them the resources and the support they need, I'm sure they will bring back all that money back and even more. So I guess we should be rethinking. Government's role today in this pandemic is to sit us and rethink how we should re-emerge from this much stronger in the way we put culture in its pedestal it requires to be, so that we now renew our resolve to boost our economy, bring it using that culture, so that we can probably catch up with the losses we have done with regards to the problems we have faced so far. But at the same time, it will give a new image, a new lease of life to our government's image into the world, in the way we will now reframe, repackage, rebrand our cultural manifestations to the world. So I guess this is the moment. We have that opportunity. Let's use it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, this is the moment. And one key thing that is important, like government need to facilitate in terms of we having revolving fund is very important, and pool of money, not having a bank. I think that is very clear. And we all have to rethink as stakeholders. Thank you very much. And that leads me to come back to Mr. Okodrame, the media entrepreneur. Everybody's talking about funding money, but we want you, I know you have touched a bit on some of the things we should do, government, but please specifically tell us what role can government play to improve the plight of the industry? This is very important because at the end of the day, we have to put up a report and share with the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, as the minister have already requested. And that will help them in their planning and also particular also making policies. Mr. Drame, please. Can you unmute your mic, please?
Actually did, okay. Can you hear me? Yes. Are you getting me right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, what I was adding value to, some words, I mean, that we use in trying to support the arts, like favors, helping the artists. These things do not exist in the modern world. In the process of funding the artists and positioning the Gambian artists to be the survival mechanism for our tourism, it falls in some hands. And those hands also, since we are restructuring, we are not only restructuring the institutions, but the people around the arts, from the church, from the mosque, they are all involved in the arts, and they diminish the art and give it the lowest value in human society. I was very disappointed a few days ago when we talked about solutions, about life and death. And I heard that the artists were not included in the plan here in Gambia, Africa. Then you tune to America or to Holland, all the artists are given 1,000 euros each. I'm not talking about the same thing can happen here, but there should be an intention. And the intention is a program. The ministry is the program and the artists are the source. We have to reorganize. This conflict virus is going to allow us to renew and to bounce a leap of 3 to 10 years. What should happen now? Government should, just like the Americans do it, come out with an amount of money and say, this is $10 million for the restructuring of the art establishment. Without that kind of money, that big major step, you cannot start it from small bits and pieces. It don't work like that. We have to catch up with Yusundur. It's now the whole world have turned multimedia, everything. It's like a World Cup. It's like when you're preparing a team to go to the World Cup. The formation of Gambian artists start with educating the artists, equipping the artists, a location where they can sit even during the daytime. That musicians are talking to filmmakers, that book writers want to make their books into a movie. We don't have a dialogue network. We are far away from what you call a yes-no answer. The art is not a yes-no thing. The art is a suggestion. Art is constantly suggesting to the people. But when people start dictating the arts, it starts to go wrong. But if you have to fund the arts also, let the artists have a say in this funding. Because paying the artists is not a right. The artists don't need to beg anyone. We have rights. We are making successful businesses for Gambia. We are making, and Gambia is thinking big, like any other nation. We want regional tourism. We want Africans to come to Gambia and feel proud. If Americans and Europeans can feel proud, there are businessmen in Africa, golf players in Nigeria, South Africa, they all want to come to Gambia. And I'm telling you, we don't have it in place. We know the thinkers. We know them, they are around us in the Gambia. Many of the people have been put on the sideline by a previous government based on tribe and language and ethnicity. Now science is taking over. And what is dangerous is when you don't equip your artists and they cannot communicate with your public, you will lose a database, a strong information network. The artists are the ones who will communicate directly in the right language and tone. The ministries will come up. I like the word funding sources and funding schemes, but these are also going to be managed by non-artistic visionaries. They don't think far. The whole establishment will be revamped with a capital. And in that capital, we can design our strategy and tax it. If you talk about tactics and strategy now, you may limit your resources because you are dealing with non-trained and non-educated art economists who cannot monetize art. We are a victim of this anti-intellectual, uneducated art management and administration. There must be an intellectualism fused in the arts and economics. Gambians, like in the UK, can make more money with the arts and culture than the industries we are trying to exploit. No need, we are too small, but the culture have no size. We can conquer the world. If you finance us and put us to go to work, we can make Gambia great.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much for your insight. I think we are getting a lot of insight from everybody, and this will be useful in moving forward. And as we said, government are doing what they are supposed to do, and we as stakeholders, we have to work with government to make sure we move forward the industry and make it resilient, and the future has to be sustainability. I think this is what we should have. And like you said, we need to create avenues for all the young artists who are the future leaders of this country, who have to move the industry forward. Thank you very much for those insights. Moving forward, I want to pose another question. I will start this time with Dr. Barry, then get to Jeriba. What could be the stakeholders' expectation and their economic solution post-COVID-19? What are your insight in that area? Dr. Barry.
Well, first of all, I guess part of it has been answered through our deliberations. I think the first thing is to recognize the fact that there's
elaborate more. Thank you.
Yes, a lot of our actors, economic, creative and cultural actors, have lost a part of their economic benefit, and that alone is a big challenge. And the fact that there is a need, as I said, to at least support some of those who have probably lost what they have lost. Whatever package there is, it should be a kind of a package that should be reasonable enough not to, to give a chance to really take off from this period, because we don't know how long this period is going to be. We are not assuming that what should be given should make anybody wealthy, but at least it should close the gaps. We have had what Jerry Bakayate mentioned. He's already losing, a lot of funds. He's not being able to generate any, and he has got a lot of staff to pay. There are a lot of cultural actors who are losing in their funds. They depend entirely on this for their livelihood. Most of the writers at the moment, as I said, they are also there. They are not able to get a platform to be able to showcase their work, launch their books so that they can have more money to be able to write more books, etc., etc. So yes, the whole industry is really, affected. So we are hoping the government would be critically looking into this and then come up with a very good package that should be able to allow. This is exclusive to the one that our brother Drama is mentioning, where that should have now to rekindle and revamp the cultural sector. This is about a kind of a compensation for the loss of economy that we are facing now during this period. So I'm hoping that the package that will come our way will not be insignificant in any way. It will be very reasonable, which will be very helpful enough to allow the industry to survive while we wait along the pandemic. But I think the cultural artists also and creative actors, we have to look at a way of finding a different alternative way of showcasing our talent and having some economic benefit from it. And it is indispensable. at this moment, so that when it ever happens again, because we know we are living in a world that anything can happen. When it happens again, we would have been prepared and ready for it. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Barry. I would just want to acknowledge Chair Omar Diallo, our Director of Performing Arts, who have been very helpful in assisting me here, and our IT technician, Mr. Adama. We appreciate the support they are providing to make sure that we can do what we are. Chair Omar, welcome on board. He's been doing all the groundwork, and thanks to him that we could do this debate today online. And of course, with the leadership of our Director General, Cisse. Now, moving forward, I would want to ask Brother Oko, you have been explaining a lot, but I want to move to, because you have talked a lot about what are some of the expectations and the economic solution should be after the post-COVID-19. So let me pose this question to you. What kind of long-term impact do you expect the health crisis, this COVID-19, to have on the livelihood of the stakeholders, the industry? And also, how can we mitigate? Thank you. Please put on your mic.
As usual, I mean, stakeholders are vital, and we need to be informing them. It's like we're working for them. We're working for them because Gambia have some targets culturally. That's why we have these artists all running around government. First thing we do is to teach people, sensitize people. This first thing that we raise awareness, not only about the COVID-19, but about how art and culture is important and economically viable and a big employment mechanism for the Gambia government. Secondly, also, these are the three things I want to talk about: raising awareness and capacity development. Gambians don't have the basic education anymore to perfect and increase the intensity of our art. Now our art is changing because of the slow down process and the operation model. I'm hearing now things that we do not grow up with. And these are the things we want to present to the world as Gambian. It is non-Gambian. We have to develop our capacity, that we have all the basic components that make a viable art industry, what I call a music business industry and a complete collective art. Because we have a program in the Gambia with the fall of Thomas Cook and this pandemic. Gambia, it's not only the artists, but people involved in the art suffer more probably than the artists, because the artists are quite popular. They get tips and handouts, which is not the right way to make an income. But there's employment doles. Some people are put out of work, but if we develop our capacity, because I remember a few years ago, only a few years ago, the youths of Basse, the youths of Georgetown, the youths of Burfoot, the youths of Birkama, Serekunda, Bakau, and Banjul were paying our artists. It was like the community employed these artists. Each week, there was an event. Each Wednesday, there was a symposium. There was a cinema in every public place in the Gambia. We do not have these things again. So the stakeholders, one thing we can assure them, that we will make a deep research into the future regarding all year-round tourism, as well as regional tourism, to make it a success, to create economy from culture, so that the bankers can step into the arts. Because now we're only dealing with Ministry of Culture and Tourism, as well as few sponsors. But these things are risky for artists. Artists has a right to earn. Another development is data collection. Gambian artists cannot connect to funding sources. We don't know those things. We don't know how to raise, we don't know how to set up an endowment fund. We don't know how to set up a funding. We have the revenue streams, but we don't have economists, people who can monetize the Gambian art. These are the basic three things that the stakeholders can expect from us. If we are equipped, we will raise awareness that before we know about any pandemic, we will even foresee it and sing it and suggest about solutions. This is what arts can do. The other thing the artists can do, we can improve tourism and culture and employ the artists and Project Gambia in the front. and we can have a database for whatever may happen to the artists, both financially and socially. We will know, and we have to collect some data from all over Africa and the world in terms of technology, presentation, and earning money through culture in a legal way. We are not yet legal. We are one step away from setting up the copyright law, the collective society, which I want to thank the ministry, HCAC. We have done a great job. We are just one step away from it. Then suddenly this crash. But I pray to God and thank all the great minds that we get out of it and start moving. We have been there. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those insights, Mr. Drame. I think this has to be taken on board, and this will help for us planning, because you talk about raising awareness. Capacity building is very important. I think if we build people capacity, it will make us more resilient. I think this is important, and this is something we have to move forward as stakeholders, all of us. And also another thing which you talk about, documentation, data collection. I think this is a problem in our country. It's not only within this sector, but generally. So we can improve in the future, become more resilient, have mitigation measures in place, and also have sustainability plan, and which includes, of course, setting up a revolving fund, like you call it, and already the ministry have mentioned all these things are in the plan. I'm sure they will take the lead and work with us. But we have to remember, all of us have a role to play in this whole process, and we have to make sure we play our role actively, not sharing blame, but work together, and united, we will fight COVID-19 and whatever comes our way again in the future. On that note, I want to invite again Director General Cisse. What could be the stakeholders' expectations and their economic situation after post-COVID-19? I've seen Jaliba is back, but please, can you answer this one, then we move forward. Then I'll get Jaliba on board, please.
Thank you very much,
Can you unmute your mic,
Madam Moderator. The expectations of the artistic community post-COVID are high. Even now they are high, and the expectations will even be higher post-COVID, because really, I mean, the artists would want to be treated, like everybody else is being treated. Okay, when there is support to one sector, we as artists, should also expect to have the same support, the same care, and the same guidance. And really, as the managers of art and culture in this country, we will work hand in hand with the artistic associations and with the available minds like Mr. Drame, with ambassadors like Jaliba himself, and with international partners like UNESCO, to ensure that there is this multidimensional approach towards, Dr. Bari didn't want to use the word, Marshall Plan, but I will use it so that we can, evolve, okay, a Marshall Plan sort of for arts and culture in this country. This funding is the alpha and the omega. I mean, it's everything. So this National Fund for Arts and Culture, all of us, NCAC, ministry, the Gambia government, the associations, the artists, international partners like UNESCO, all of us have to work together to create this fund, because it can solve all our problems. Because as artists, our problems are largely, funding. Yeah. You have a project in your head. Yeah, Mr. Drame, I know, for the past 12 years, has been working on this, Kora Festival for the Gambia. I mean, all the ideas are in his head. All what is needed is the financial boost for him to be able to organize that festival, I mean, before he dies. And I know he'll be a very, very happy man if that happens, if that festival happens. I mean, we have Deliver. I mean, I don't know whether, he had forgotten to mention this. In his pocket, whenever he's coming to Banjul, in his pocket, he has a project proposal for a music school. For the past 6, 7, 8 years. All what is needed is the funding. And Jaliba is suitably qualified. He has the international exposure. He has the family, pedigree. He has the experience, to have like a music school, to teach, I mean, traditional instruments, and songs and so forth. You see, like myself, as a writer, I mean, I have, 2, 3 manuscripts, ready, for printing. So Madam Moderator, really, the short answer to your question is we will work hand in hand with the partners and the stakeholders to ensure that we create this fund, a national fund for arts and culture. Now, the sports people, they have it recently. The environment people, they have it. I mean, fisheries, they have it. So really next is to be us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is well noted, Director General. Yes, it's good to have funds, but like Mr. Drabe have mentioned, revolving fund is very important because of the nature of this industry. It's creative and it's about culture. But having the fund, I think that is very important. But we would want to hear from Jaliba because you said every time he's having his proposal in the pocket every time when he's coming. And it's high time we really set up those kind of things and build the capacity like Mr. Drame have mentioned. So Jalimba, what could be your take on like the stakeholders' expectation and their economical solution post-COVID-19? I know you have talked a bit about it, but I want you to elaborate. Are you hearing me? You can unmute your mic now.
Yes, I'm hearing you. Thank you very much once again. I'm sorry for that short interruption in my connection. I'm happy now that I'm back. Thanks to the Director General who has mentioned about my proposal. That for years I have been on this. My project proposals are here. Well, maybe you will not be able to see them properly, but I have this booklet designed for this school for quite a long time, and I have knocked all doors. MCAC is aware. I've gone to a British industry, and I think they were willing to come and do some funding in our country. I get heated because I think I have done a lot for this country. I started as a boy during Jawara's regime, and I was asked to be in a group of cultural members to introduce traditional music in schools. All the other members cannot even write their names or surnames. I mean, we are not formally schooled. But I said, well, I think I am the unfortunate one here. I waited for my time. I said I was still very submissive and servile to those people. Servile to them until after 1 year or 2 years, we said, well, this thing is not moving anymore. That's the time. I'm sorry, I have to take a little time. That's the time I wrote to the education department to have my own thing that is coming out as a music man. Now I am on this process to cut everything short. I am the only one. These people in the National Council for Arts and Culture can bear with Gambia culturally. If I go, well, this is going to be gloomy on Gambians. I mean, culturally gloomy. You will believe with me, the boys that are coming have gone to others like imitated Nigerian, American.
Okay, Jaliba, I think we are having some kind of internet interruption, but we have the best part of what you were trying to share with us. Sure, we'll get back to you when you have the opportunity to sum up of your final words. Please be informed that this is being live streamed and people are watching us on YouTube and also Facebook. And we have got some questions which we would want our panelists to answer. I will allow my co-host, my facilitator here, Mr. Sheikh Omar Jallo, Director of Performing Arts, to come up with some of these questions, and we'll get you people to answer it. Thank you. Mr. Jallo, please. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I have questions that came from few. Yeah, Baba Sise is asking a question to the panelist or to the director or minister or whoever should be able to answer this. He said, will the artists benefit from the COVID-19 relief funds that are currently available? And the second question is, if so, how should the luggage be distributed? Thank you for now.
Thank you very much for those questions from Mr. Baba Sise. Director General Sise, can you please elaborate on those questions, particularly the package, relief package for our sectors? Hello.
Madam Moderator.
Yeah, he's hearing us.
Thank
Please
you
go
very much,
ahead.
Madam
He's
Moderator.
hearing us. Please go ahead.
Yes, I am hopeful that the artistic and cultural community will not be left behind. In fact, as we speak, we have, at the NCAC and the ministry been making several moves in terms of making sure that there is the artists and the cultural players are part of the relief, fund. We have submitted proposals to the ministry on that. Okay. And not only the ministry, we've also approached the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry this week, to also, remember the artists and the cultural players, because they also, they're entrepreneurs. We artists can be entrepreneurs. We set up, businesses. So in fact, we have a place in the Chamber of Commerce. And I told them, if you include the artists and the cultural players in your Chamber of Commerce, relief, package, that will even encourage, like artists to join the chamber, in their own, ways and, and means. And finally, also, even this participation in the ResiliArt, effort is one way of also making sure that Gambian artists are not left behind in any relief fund. Because this forum which we are on right now offers us the opportunity to have our voices heard. Okay, at the official level, at the unofficial level, and at the international level.
It's me.
So the short answer to the question, we are hopeful that the artists will not be left behind in the package, and a lot of effort is being done in that. For example, we are even in touch with the Minister of Health also. We have, listened to them, so that more artists and cultural players can be engaged in the public awareness campaign that the ministry is currently
Do you have
undertaking.
another question?
Now he asked the question how. If there is something, I think it's just the fund. If when government has something, like a relief package for arts and artists, I think we can start the relief fund. The fund, the National Arts and Culture Fund. I think that would be rightful seed money for that fund. Thank you very much, Madam Moderator.
Thank you very much, Director General Cisse, for giving us response to those questions. I'm sure you are in the forefront to represent the culture and creative industry, and be rest assured of our support in this whole thing. Jaliba, I want to continue talking to you more, but you have to, if you could go off the video and you just leave your audio on so that it can be more audible, because you have a lot to share with us. I just want to pose again this question to you so that we can hear you properly, because it was not clear. What could be stakeholders' expectation and their economic situation solution after the post-COVID-19? What's your expectation, you as an artist? Are you hearing me? Okay, we'll.
But I cannot take off the video.
Okay, just go ahead. Okay, just answer me. We will manage. It's okay. It's okay. Just go ahead.
Yeah, I was on a point.
It's clearer now, even.
Yeah, I was on a point that I need this music school here, but not for myself, for the Gambia. And for the sub-region. In the near future, people will be coming here to do some research, especially on our invented musical instrument, that's the core. NCAC, they know this. I'm the only one left behind now. With the teaching methodology, and not only that, with the knowledge, because the young ones, most of them are dropouts, And secondly, they are not aware of our ideologies, I mean culturally, our norms, practices, they don't know about them. And this is why we need this school in the Gambia, so that we inculcate this idea into them. Gambia, but this is for the Gambia. The culture should not be there. It's not only the Korah we intend to portray, we intend to teach, we intend to live it with the children. Our drums. When did we start? Are they from the first cultural instrument, the bombolo, coming down, the halams, all of them are dying. The bolombata, you name them, they are no more. So this is why I need this help, that this school should be erected, and from there, I'm sure we can feed everywhere, internationally. Anybody can come here and you'll have your resources here, you'll have education here. We don't lack anything. The Director General also is aware. Even last year, I came there trying to find a way so that they'll be contracted to India, China, and other places so that they can have funding for themselves. I have established this group of symphony players, and they are doing a lot in the country. But everything is dormant. Everything should go well. I am to use these people in that school so that we get culture back on its feet. This is why I'm crying all along, so that stakeholders can come to our aid, and then we have it done now.
Thank you very much, Yaliba, for your patience and for answering the question again. It was a bit better though. I think it has to do with the challenge of technology. But now, I mean, I want to go back to, I think Doctor have answered this question, and we go to Director General. What kind of long-term impact do you expect the health crisis to have on the livelihood of our artists and our creators? I think I would want to pose that question to Mr. Drame first. Unmute your mic.
Yeah, I'm back. Yep. Can you repeat the question, please? Can you hear me? Mic is, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Drame.
Hello. Yes.
Okay.
What kind of long-term impact do you expect?
My mic is open. If you can hear me, I can just go on. Can I go on now? What I want to say is that there was a question just posed a few seconds ago about this COVID. There's a name for it, that who should benefit from this COVID thing, are the artists involved, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't get
relief
the right
plan, relief package.
Yes, the artists are not. I decided not to go to this meeting anymore. In that meeting, they clearly stated out, there was a bank, central bank, there was the minister, there was tourism director. They all said no. I was just about to ask a question, who quantify the value of the artists, the products they make, the intellectual knowledge they have, and the reservoir of royalties they are sitting on? These are rich people in terms of knowledge. They say, no, we have the tomato sellers, we have those who, and I see all these store operators, vultures of the industry. I think we need to revamp not only the culture, we have to revamp the tourism industry. The talking is too much in town. What made the artists to suffer on this day? I am talking to artists in Senegal, in Cameroon, in Congo, in Tanzania, Kenya. I'm part of the artistic continental artist network. They're all having money directly in their hands. And they already got it. In Gambia, we are not included. I stood up in that meeting to talk about inclusion. I was asked to keep quiet because the process is going on and we don't want interruption in the process, which means if the artist is not clearly identified, he will not have a penny. But they're ready to use the artist all year round. In this code word, do it for your country. We have done for our country for millions of years. Now, many artists are lying sick. People do not visit the artist. I'm the one, personally, who go to funerals, who go to naming ceremonies of artists. The great Bada Ature, these people die. You see nobody there. The ministry don't come. The government don't come. The death of Pature sent me. After I was crying from these things, traveling all over the world, seeing the benefits of artists, when they go to collect their royalties, their cars, what make us envy, Yusundur, all these things are administration, database, research. So when you give the artist money now, in 2 months' time, that money is finished because all these artists I know right now are debted because some of them, they take advance money for concerts and these concerts don't take place. They must give back the money. So when you talk about who will benefit, the artists are not. In our last meeting a few days ago on official terms and the bank references, the artists are not there. Unless we mention the artists are included, because otherwise we will die. There will be no tourism because there will be no culture. What I believe is that we should have a cultural economy based on cultural activities. The all year round calendar, My Kora Festival, Jaliba School of Music. Artists are the visionaries. We don't need paying clerks. We don't need accountants there. But the interruption is coming from non-artistic people dictating the arts. If an experienced artist was in charge of this thing 3 months before, our artists can generate so much income through teletrons, through television concerts, through rehearsals at home, through fan base, talking to the fans. We can develop so much multimedia economic resources that we can pay ourselves and continue thinking and continue creating. But if we don't get this relief fund, we are going to make a strike. We're going to stop. You cannot deliberately take us out of it and give all the money to tourism, which is organized and owned by the foreigners. I don't want to talk about Lebanese and all that. But when I saw the tour operators, I said, no, we are losing here. These are vultures. They're going to eat us, like how they did from 1965 to this point. The art of this country is the last on the continent because people take the money deliberately, legally and by authority, deny you the money. And if you don't mind, they can terrorize your future in the Gambia. You can never perform no more. It has been going on like that for years. I wish I could be assistant to the minister. The minister is willing, but there's more on the ground.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much, Mr. Drame. Point well noted. And like I said, there are some important words which have come out, which is one, research, cultural economy, and of course, like I said, sustainability. I think the bottom line here is sustainability. How can we sustain the industry? I think we have to all come together as stakeholders to work out a sustainability plan. All hands must be on deck. That is important. It's not only about government doing it. We all have a stake. We have to take the bull by the horn ourselves and make sure it's not business as usual. We have to think outside the box. Of course, funding is important. We have to look at all the funding opportunities, work with all partners, including UNESCO and other development partners, and government taking the lead, working with all of us. Then I'm sure we will have positive outcome, solution to these things, because the livelihood of the sector is very important. To sum it all, I just want to give the opportunity to the Director General to give his final words there to round up this one. Everybody will have a chance to do that before we close this discussion. Director General, please.
thank you very much, Madam Moderator, for a job well done. The exercise is quite fruitful, is frank also. Tomorrow we are having another cohort of artists who will be on the platform to also have their take on some of the issues that we have tried to dissect here. But like you rightly said, eternal vigilance is needed on the part of everybody, holders, to make sure that this moment becomes like an opportunity to really kickstart like a new phase in the development of arts and culture in the country. Optimism is important. Collaboration is also important. And I think, we have, both of these qualities, in all the, parties, who are like interested, parties. So that is why we are quite hopeful that something, great will come out of this, for artists. And we will really keep on, standing by the artists to make sure that they are not left behind in anything. And it is difficult to leave artists, behind. Because they are, we are ubiquitous. Wherever you turn, you hear, like a piece of work by an artist. You see. So therefore, we are hopeful, and we will keep on pushing to make sure that the artists are fully, catered for. Their rights, like intellectual rights, moral rights, economic rights, are fully protected. Now that is our mission here, okay? And we will do our level best to live up to that mission. But of course, we will need, this, constant, maybe like to call it intellectual support, with ideas, you see, so that we will win, the fight to make arts and culture reach, the epitome of its value in this country. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I also want to thank our colleagues at, the Dakar office, office, for the support, particularly to Kadjatu. She does not leave us in peace, as we say. But thank God we have started very well, minus some few, internal challenges. And tomorrow I know things will even be better.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Hasum.
So thank you, definitely. We are highly, and all the same.
Thank you. Director General, we want Dr. Barry in words, please, on this.
Yes.
Fight against COVID-19.
Your side was getting bad, so yeah.
Sorry.
Come again. I couldn't hear you guys from your end because the internet was this is slurry.
Okay, we want you to give your last words, concluding remarks regarding
Okay,
the
thank you.
culture.
Thank you very much. Can you all hear me clearly?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I want to first of all commend the Honorable Minister of Tourism and Culture for taking the drive to accept the organization of this. Thank our UNESCO counterparts who have been the host actually, or the chief organizers of this event. I want to thank you, the moderator, and all the participants. I guess we have been able to say some things, share our views, raise concerns, and I'm hoping that this will bring out resolutions, concrete resolutions that would be shared with the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, and that would pave the way forward. As the DG, National Center for Arts and Culture has said, and I also want to thank him and his team, Sheikh Omar and others, for really pushing this to happen. I have to say that they have a very big job now to ensure what has been said here is properly summarized, that the resolutions are clear. What we expect is to see a revamp, a way forward, and a leap into the future on creative and cultural industry in the Gambia, and how we can reshape it, restructure it, reform it, to make sure that it benefits not only the country at large, but also the actors in particular. Thank you very much, and I was honored really to be part of this process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. It was a pleasure to have you on board. And thank you always for your useful insight. We want to also ask Jaliba Kuyate, your last words to conclude.
Thank you very much. First, I want to thank the architects for such a forum to be organized. Our wordings here will be well noted, and everybody will come to our aid so that we keep culture going. I'm afraid that
do some
in my deliberation fair or it's taking for again.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jaliba.
Yes,
for
with the permission of Madam Moderator.
Yes,
With the permission of Madam Moderator.
Coronavirus. 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 Alhamdulillah. Uludum budalu, antema nyanda gameza rosi, yule bebe tankaroto, coronavirus. Wow, wow. Coronavirus. Look at it. Wow, wow.
Thank you very much, Jaliba. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jaliba.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless. Now, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So we would want to conclude now. Just 2 seconds, Mr. Drame, your concluding remarks. 2 seconds.
Thank you.
Mr. Drame.
Thank you. Now, I want to give my compliments to the UNESCO organization. They really have done a marvelous job in putting us together to bring out our ideas, not only here to clap and cheer for the support we're going to get, but we have a stake. Secondly, the NCAC have been there all the time. Every year, I understand your lack of resources, we're going to get there. And last but not the least, I trust my minister, Ahmad Ba. If you give him the guns, he will deliver. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. God bless. Chairman wants to share with us some information regarding tomorrow's.
Director Jallo, please.
Director.
Yeah, okay. Mute up. Yes, just some house rules. Thank you very much for all the stakeholders, the panelists, and of course, the people who have been following it online, both Facebook and YouTube. We are very grateful that you've shown some interest to the debate. And the panelists also, you've done justice to the topic. You definitely hit the mark. Now, just for some house rules. Tomorrow we will be having the next batch, and I have to take excuse for the female panelists. I was actually trying to reach Rohi. Rohi unfortunately was sick, and she would be in the panel by tomorrow. So we have deferred her presence for today to tomorrow. So we will be having more of that tomorrow. And the panelists that we will have tomorrow would be, of course, Baba Sila, a writer. We will be having Sheikh Tijan Seka. We will be having Babukar Cham, a culture promoter. And we will have Ndei Jabang, a dancer. Of course, Rohi Kamara. And finally, we will have somebody from NATCOM UNESCO, that is Lamin Jaju. So this will be the panelists tomorrow, and you may follow the discussions again. And of course, I'm sure the issues would be just a little bit tweeted, but more or less the discussions would be centered on the same thing, to know from all the sectors of the artistic and creative sector, so that we know what's happening in the film sector, in the dance sector, in the, of course, we have heard a lot on the literary arts sector, and of course, in the culture sector and broadcasting and the like. Thank you to all of you. Allah Baraka. Voila.
Thank you very much, Mr. Omar.
Thank you to everybody.
Yeah. We just want to conclude. We have seen PS is with us, PS Daifatu Jabang, sorry, Daifatu Jabang Senghor if you want to do a closing remarks, Madam. Okay, she's not with us. Okay, thank you, everybody. That's
no,
the end.
I mean, sorry, moderator. Is that part of the done? Yes.
Thank you. Gigi, can you do the final thank you, please? The closing remarks.
Oh, me? Who is making the closing remarks?
DG.
Oh, DG, Hasum.
DG.
He's sleeping maybe. Hasum, you are the one who should make the closing remarks.
Yes.
He's hearing you. Thank you. Please go ahead, DG.
Thank you for being so loyal and faithful to this session. Us, you, we have taken the past 10 days. We have taken so much of your time. The trials, the tests, the calls, the emails, and for the moderator, Ms. Bakurin, for you, we don't know what to say. We are most grateful. It's been 12 days you have been coming, asking, calling, and finally today you have done a wonderful job. And tomorrow I know you will do the best job. So thank you very much, Ms. Bakurin, for your support to our colleagues. Sini is not in the screen, but Sir Omar, the technician, Adama, Mr. Drame, the doyen, cultural ambassador, and Jaliba, we are grateful. We are a busy man. I know the house is full because it's Ramadan time, well with us, but you've given us, 3 hours. Thank you very much. Dr. Barry, you are also a very busy man. Thanks for coming. And they just joined us, but she'll be with us more tomorrow. And Kajatu is still around. Kajatu, thank you very much once again. We are never tired of thanking you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director General. And thank to everybody who has participated in this debate. It's been very useful. We appreciate everybody participated and those who have been watching too and sending also their comments. Thank you for your partake in this important discussion. We hope we all can fight against COVID-19 and we hope post-COVID-19 will be good for our industry. God bless you all. Thank you, UNESCO, also for always being there for us. God bless. See you tomorrow. Thanks, those who will join us. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.